What's going on, all you Nightmare on Elm Street fanatics out there? Your two
Yes!
favorite horror critics are back. That's right, me and Uncle Logan there are back for our Halloween episode for the 31 Days of Horror. That's right, we're ending it. It ends tonight here on Halloween, and we figure what better way to go out than to talk about a franchise that's been around for over 40 years now. 41 years, I believe, since the first Nightmare on Elm Street. We're going to talk about A Nightmare on Elm Street, of course, but we're going to talk about Freddy Krueger's best kills.
This is it, Jennifer. Your big break in TV. Welcome to prime time, bitch.
That's right. We're back for the best day of the year. Of course, I'm talking about Halloween. This is our Halloween special. We do this every year, but tonight, with the giveaway, the Nightmare on Elm Street giveaway, loving Freddy Krueger forever, 40 years basically. Thought, let's go out on top dealing with Freddy, Nightmare on Elm Street, sharing our favorite kills. There's so many of them throughout the course of the franchise. But tonight we're going to be digging into our favorites. I'm sure me and you will have a lot of the same favorites, but we'll find out, I guess.
For sure.
Let's
I figure there'll be some overlap there between our favorites. I know we wrote both really like part three, and there's about two or
yes,
three from that one.
three.
Yeah. So,
I
yeah.
have three from that one. That's funny, but yeah, part
Uh,
three. It's I hold that one closest to my heart. That was my first horror movie I ever watched as a kid. I think I was 3 years old when I saw that movie. Messed me up for life, and why I'm such a
wow.
huge horror fan. 40 years later, and my dad always asked me why I was into it. I'm like, well, you showed me Nightmare on Elm Street 3 when I was 3 years old. It's all your fault. So here we are, all these years later. But revisiting this, yeah, this is the one that set it off for me. As a young kid, and my fascination and love towards other franchises, Halloween of course, and
Oh,
Texas
yeah.
Chainsaw, but this is one started it off. But a lot of kills. Freddy Krueger, as a young kid I was afraid to go to sleep because of this guy.
Hmm.
And I found out 30 years later that Freddy wasn't real, so I thought he was real the entire time. But there's so many of them. The one that comes to mind, kick this off here, of course, is from Dream Warriors. The one that comes to mind is the needles, the glove, the
Tara
mohawk.
the punk rock chick.
Yeah,
Yep.
the punk rock chick, the drug overdose. I just love that scene and how it was shot. And one of my
Yeah.
favorites I always remember.
Yeah, that's a killer one. Definitely on my list too. I love how it's down in a like a noir looking alley and she's got the punk rock leathers on. She's got the mohawk. Looks really badass and she's going to kick Freddy's ass down there. And I like how at first it shows the guy in the trench coat. It kind of throws you off. It's not Freddy. She like turns around to see him walk by and then when she turns around again, Freddy's in front of her. And yeah, he's got the needles on each of his fingers. And then like her arm has all the track marks, but like each of the track marks are like little Freddy faces in there. So like when he jabs, yeah, that was a really unique and awesome kill. One that I always think about in this franchise and part three just had some spectacular scenes like that. But yeah, definitely the needle glove, that whole scene, was awesome. And one of a couple others from part three.
Yeah, definitely. Another one that comes to mind I always remembered as a kid was Carlos from Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare with the hearing aid.
Hmm.
Nails on a chalkboard, like really
Oof.
slow. Yeah, like I just remember watching that elementary school with my friends like a Friday night, and that kill scene always remember that. Well done. The effects and everything, which is always
Yeah.
great about this franchise. Practical effects, kill scenes are always one of the best, and that one I'll never get out of my mind and memory.
That was in Freddy's Dead: The Final Nightmare, wasn't it?
Yes.
Believe
Is that?
so, yeah. Yeah,
Yes.
I remember that playing at the Hub Theater when we were all kids with the 3D glasses and stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, but that kills definitely stands out. That was one of my honorable mentions on mine. But just a cool scene, yeah, the nails on the chalkboard. Freddy comes out there. At first it's like a small square with chalk on it, and then he like makes it wider, and then he's like, and
Yep.
then so his head can't stand it anymore, and then
It's still like, damn.
yeah. Damn, Freddy's a badass. So my next pick for best Freddy kill is the Roach Motel from the Dream Master in part four. So that one starts out with the girl. She's lifting weights. She's on the bench, and then Freddy comes up, and he's like, he's going to be the spotter when she's benching there, and he's pumping her up. He's like, "Come on!" And then eventually, she lifts, and then when she comes down, like he's pushing down so hard that at her elbows they pop. They basically, burst
Oh,
open.
right. Yeah.
Boom, breaks. And then that starts like a metamorphosis, and she basically turns into a roach slowly. Like the arms are coming out where her arms were, and then, she ends up falling face first, and it's like a sticky trap down there. So her face goes face down into it. And then when she gets up, it kind of rips her face and then slowly like peels back, and there's a roach under there. It's wild.
Dude,
One of the wild ones from the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. The Roach Motel scene. Yeah, that one always got me.
as the franchise progressed, it got like more comedic and less serious, but that's
Yeah,
part of the charm of Freddy Krueger and Nightmare on Elm
yeah.
Street. But originally, the first two were like more serious and darker, and it just got more
Hmm.
laid back and just ridiculous over the top
Yeah, let's
practical
see what we
effects.
could do. Yeah, different.
Yeah,
Yeah, let's
and
try something else. Yeah.
that's why it stands as one of the best franchises for that reason, because you just think all the different ones, these had the most
Hmm.
unique and creative ones for sure. But yeah, I forgot about that one. That's a good one. I have to rewatch part four at this point. What I plan on doing, anyways, this Halloween season. Another one that comes to mind, probably the most iconic, famous one. I think when I think of Freddy Krueger, it's "Welcome to Primetime, Bitch," where he arms come out of the TV and grabs her head. It's so
Pulls her
awesome.
head through. Yeah, that
Put,
was
put
great.
right in the TV, just
Hell
smashes, and just like, okay, "Welcome to Primetime, Bitch." Just that
yeah.
Robert Englund on top of his game right there.
Yeah,
Just really becoming this character and one that stands out. I think about all the time, and
that
just
was awesome.
the way it was shot, the effects as well, top tier.
Oh, I agree with you. Definitely on my list too. Love how his face comes out of it and everything. That's an awesome scene. Lawrence Fishburne, like in the, leading up to that part too. He's like, "Yeah, I'll let you watch the TV," and then she's trying to stay awake. She's like burning cigarettes on her arm, and she's watching TV, and then, she falls asleep, and then Freddie Freddie takes her right into Showtime. She was like an expiring actress. So it was perfect for that scene. That was definitely a memorable one. One of the best ones for sure. Definitely top two for me. Another one for me, well, shit, we've already talked about part three, so let's cover the one that stands out, probably the most gruesome and like creepy one from part three, the, marionette Philip, when Philip
Yes.
basically gets his ligaments taken out of his body and he becomes Freddy's marionette. And Freddy, yeah, is controlling Philip and basically walks him out into the hallway, into the window ledge. And then you even see like a huge Freddy towering overhead playing marionettes with Philip. And then, he sends Philip to his demise and his death jumping from that window. But just a gruesome scene, seeing the ligaments tear out, and it just, yes, it's very unsettling, and a hell of a scene. It goes to show you what Freddy can do if you fall asleep.
Oh, that was on my list, and that was another one. There's so many from Dream Warriors. I think that's probably
Yeah.
the best one next to the original movie, I think, in the franchise for sure, because all the most iconic kills. And that was
Hmm.
on my list, and I always thought about just like the ligaments, and he's just like walking. I'm like, Jesus.
Yeah,
The way they filmed that was really cool. Obviously, probably did
was.
some of the green screen and stuff like that, but yeah, it was great, great camera work and effects. The one that comes to mind, this is where we already talked about the rest of my list. My favorite one from the original. You could probably guess which one.
Glenn. Johnny
Glenn,
Depp.
Johnny Depp. My favorite of all the movies, because the first one is my favorite, really set the tone. A young Johnny Depp sucked
Hmm.
into the bed, the blood coming out. I mean, just the way that was filmed was so ahead of its time. And then, young Johnny Depp and his demise too. I thought that was just wild to see where he was then and where he is now. One of the biggest actors of all time, just setting up his career and just going back how they filmed that. Love it.
For sure. An iconic death from Nightmare on Elm Street. Probably the most iconic. Just think about it. You're a kid at home, you're watching this, and basically all that has to happen is you have to fall asleep, and you're in bed there and just imagining your bed coming alive, pulling you under, and then just
Yeah.
getting blended basically. And the way they shot that was really cool, with the basically the blender of blood, all the blood flying out and going all over. It was terrifying. Really well done, along with the music that went along with the scene. Like you mentioned, it's Johnny Depp, so that's amazing. He obviously went on to take over the world, growing up. And, so just an iconic kill, probably the most from A Nightmare on Elm Street, the one that kicked everything off, of course. I had a couple honorable mentions. Another one from part one, the first kill from that with Tina, where she's running outside and she sees Freddy with he has like the huge arms, the long arms, and she gets into a tussle with him. He's on top of her. She reaches up and like rips off his face. It's really creepy. But then after that, he ends up killing Tina. She's in her bed or whatever, and he's basically ripping her apart. You see the claw marks in her stomach, and then you see her being drug up on the ceiling. And
Yes.
that was like the one that put Freddy on the map. And from there, that was his first kill in this Nightmare on Elm Street series. So that one was a really important one.
And the way they filmed that, always the ceiling too. Like as a young kid, that scared the crap out of me. Like they're just like moving around and just basically get sliced and
Yeah,
diced and blood everywhere. So ahead of its time. Wes Craven, one of the goats in horror, and this is really his, big, franchise next to Scream for sure. The one that set it up and made him a household name and scared the crap out of us. But yeah,
yeah.
that's the way they filmed that. So incredible.
One other one that we should mention, being big into video games, especially you, but
Of
you
course.
remember from youth, just the myth of the Power Glove, and you remember that from Freddy's Dead: The Final Nightmare with the Power Glove scene, which
Of
is
course.
funny to look back now with the graphics and everything. But back then, man, that was awesome. Like basically, you thought the Power Glove you could do anything, with any game, and then them utilizing it in that movie was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's one. I need to revisit that one too. I'm just gonna rewatch all these again because I forgot about that one. But now you talk about it, definitely
Hmm.
amazing how they did that. At that time, it was like cutting edge technology, and like video
Hmm.
games were like every
Yeah,
kid wanted it, and like it's crazy to think back, to where we're at now. It's just back
right.
then it was just well done. Anyways,
1991.
1991. That's right. So
I
we're
was reading some facts about the Nightmare on Elm Street series. Apparently, like five of these were made like within 5 years, like one a year for a while,
wow.
which is pretty impressive. Yeah, just how they cranked them out in the 80s there.
Yeah, he was such a big part of pop culture. I remember like being a young kid. Friends had older siblings, had Freddy Krueger posters on the wall. I got
Hmm.
that cardboard cutout. He was everywhere. Commercials. Remember that one where he was wearing the sunglasses on the beach? I mean, he was a big part of the 80s, early 90s for sure. Like, Robert Englund really set up his career playing this character, iconic character. But yeah, some other ones I'm sure, like thinking about Freddy Krueger, like I think of Freddy versus Jason. There's so many in that movie.
Hmm.
Yeah, that was like a really good toe to toe. Jason and Freddy both killing a bunch of people, so plenty of out there. Do you have any other honorable mentions?
Oh, I could go on, but yeah, that's all I had on my list. I figured I'd just throw a couple extra ones in, but yeah, so many iconic kills in this franchise. It's such a fun series, and just the way they got creative as it went on. But like you mentioned, it started out really terrifying, and then it got more campy as the series went on, and he became more comedic, of course. But it was always cool, and yeah, always a part of our pop culture and growing up. And we'll always remember this Nightmare on Elm Street franchise with good memories. And now that it's been restored in 4K, gives us a reason to go back and watch these after all these years. It's been a while since I've watched more than the first, maybe the first three I've rewatched, but the others I haven't seen. I've maybe seen some of those only once or twice before. So it'll be cool to go back and revisit this series.
That's right. It's a perfect time to watch it during the Halloween season, 31 Days of Horror, plus giving this away to one lucky follower out there. It's definitely the season of Freddy this year, and forever grateful for that. And another fun month. Me and you come back here, video dropping every day of the month. It was a lot of work, but I love doing it with my best mate over here and watching our favorite genre being horror. It's been a blast watching new and old TV shows and movies and dissecting them throughout the month. And wanted to thank everybody out there for sticking with us all these years and hanging out with us during Halloween season. Hopefully, you had a good time. found out some, movies, TV shows you haven't heard about and watch them.
Yeah, definitely. Also, shout out to Kev, who's also done some horror reviews for us this month. Thanks, Kev, for your contributions, and always enjoy watching your videos. And, we're going to be giving away Nightmare on Elm Street in 4K here. Thank you guys for another great 31 days of horror. And we can't wait to be back with you all next year for 2026. So until then, I'm Uncle Henry.
And I'm Logan Krueger signing out till the next 31 Days of Horror next year.
Cheese!
Cheers!